a while here, and each of those fellows really, George, has his own story to tell. Bone Crusher Smith has been to the top of the mountain once in his career. He's been the world champion, lost it to Mike Tyson in a long, not so grueling, but long fight. He has now put together a 9-victory skein, and he really has his eye on one more shot at the big brass ring, and it probably will be just one shot. He's 38 years of age. Anthony Baby Jones, a fellow who found an awful lot of success, but not a world championship in the lightweight division, has moved up to give himself the luxury of a few more pounds, a little less struggle in the exercise room to make weight, probably carrying, as a result of that, a little more strength. And I think it helps him. His first outing as a junior welterweight in May, George, was excellent. He was very strong. He was very quick. He carried the weight well, and I think there's promise for him in the division.
Chris, just how good can the former Olympian Anthony Hembrick become?
Well, I think, there's a ways to go to be a perfectly balanced fighter, but he's awfully good already. He tends to be a little braggadocio at times, and sometimes in the past has carried that into the ring. It's affected his concentration. But when he ran into a guy from Ypsilanti, Michigan, named Booker Word, and was knocked out in the first round, it knocked a little bit of that out of him, at least between the ropes, and that's where it matters. And with that out of the way, I think, the sky's the limit.
We'll have fun with our first fight, too. A super young, super middleweight, Tim Littles, who has future champ written all over him, will be in our first fight tonight. Fight Night at the Palace is brought to you by Guardian Alarm Residential Sales Department. Don't let a burglar KO your home and family. Stage manager Jeff Morrill, George Blaha, and Chris McClure at the Palace in Auburn Hills, Michigan. Very, very nice card tonight. And in fight number 1, Chris, it's Tim Littles, the Flint super middleweight, against Akron, Ohio's Jerome Kelly.
This is a fight, generally speaking, designed to enhance Little's record. He's a quality youngster out of the camp of Lou Duva and Shelley Finkel, and he should be a 3-2 or 3-1 favorite, maybe wider than that. He is a southpaw. As we take a look at the tail of the tape and compare the two, Littles comes in as a southpaw with a 14-0 record and 11 knockouts to his credit. He's 26 years of age and stands 5'11", his reach at 72. Mammoth potential with this guy. He could very well bang his way right straight to a title opportunity as an undefeated title, which he is now. Jerome Kelly hails from Akron, Ohio, and his credentials aren't nearly as impressive by any means. His record is 5 under the 500 mark. He's only got 2 knockouts to his credit. He is an opponent in this case, George Blaha. Littles may not win early, but he'll win.
And there you get a look at Flint's Tim Littles. Tonight taking on, as Chris calls him, an opponent, Jerome Kelly. Jerome would like to surprise a few people tonight, but chances are he won't. Let's go up to Wally Jackson, our ring announcer.
Ringside fans, welcome to beautiful Auburn Hills. Tonight, Ringside Productions and Metro 25 Tire Centers are proud to present Metro 25 Fight Night at the Palace. This is 8 rounds in the super middleweight division. Our referee is Joe Sowerby. Introducing first in the red corner, weighing in at 168 pounds. As a professional, he has 8 wins, 13 defeats, 3 draws, 2 wins by knockout. From Akron, Ohio, here is Jerome Kelly. And his opponent in the blue corner, weighed in at 166 3/4 pounds. He is undefeated as a professional. 14 wins, 11 knockouts. From Flint, Michigan, here is Tim Littles.
Gentlemen, welcome to the Palace.
The referee tonight for the first first bout, Joe Sowerby. Marv McDonald, the other referee here, assigned by Michigan State Boxing Commissioner Dr. Stuart Kirchenbaum.
I said a moment ago, George, that Littles might not win early, but he most likely would win. One thing that Jerome Machine Gun Kelly calls himself knows how to do, and that is go the distance. He's taken a lot of good folks that way, given them all the rounds they asked for. In fact, there's kind of an interesting little story. Last February, he was fighting in Grenoble, France, against the French champion at the time. And the French champion wasn't looking all that good, because this guy has a way to make good fighters look bad. So they came over about the 7th round of a contracted 4 and scheduled 8 rounder and said, "This is a 10, by the way." And Kelly's people said, "No, it's not. It's an 8." And they stopped after 8. He still lost the decision. Big shot there to open by Littles.
All in the dock. Littles in white with an unblemished 14-0 record.
Got a big left hook in his arsenal. One of the best weapons he's developed so far in his career. And he counters with it a little bit too occasionally.
Yes, he does. He and Jerome Kelly. Kelly's already tasted some leather.
Big shots from Little. Kelly stands in front of him. Tough guy.
Low right hand and a word from Joe Sowerby. Right thrown by Littles. Tuck him with the jab on the chin. Missed low with a couple of others, with Kelly's corner hollering, "Don't wait, don't wait."
Well, you know, if he has any opportunity at all, he better throw. There's not going to be too many opportunities. The thing you like about Little's patience, knows where he is. He hasn't hardly moved 10 feet in the whole round, and Kelly's been all over the place with his lateral movement, trying to be a moving target, knowing he has to be a moving target, but really doesn't make that much difference. The difference in hand speed is huge.
He's out connecting him about 15-1 so far.
Could be over about now.
Kelly backing into the corner and in some trouble. Little sticks him with an uppercut left after missing with a roundhouse right.
Now, the last half of that flurry stopped on the gloves and arms, so Kelly was at least able to cover up and save himself a little bit, but I think he's got still a minute to go in this round.
He does. Just under 1 minute left in round 1. Jerome Kelly fighting to stay out of trouble.
He's also increased the range maybe a half step. We've seen Little, you know, kind of reaching, George, and he's going to have to move forward a little bit more, shorten the range so that his hand speed can pay off, because Kelly has moved away from him. There's a jab. He's right at the right distance right now. Boom, boom.
Little's a little cautious. With a half a minute left here in round 1. Right caught leather. Right here on top of us.
Backhander. Just not quick enough to shoot, especially to the body like that, George. Kelly was nowhere near getting back defensively. He was countered. That got him on the ropes. That got him in trouble again.
That's it. The end of round 1 before an already noisy crowd, a good-sized crowd here at the Palace of Auburn Hills, including, I see, one of the Detroit Pistons assistant coaches, Brendan Malone, a New Yorker. All New Yorkers are fight fans, or most.
It's a requirement, isn't it?
I think so.
Early on, Littles had Kelly in deep trouble. There's that left, almost as a counter that set it up to the body. A little extended, perhaps too far for Littles. Against a better opponent, he probably would have been countered in that instance. But really in control of the round the whole way. There you see he comes back over, and no defense really from Kelly at that point. Couple of body shots. And then he covered up. From that point forward in that flurry, George, I think Kelly kind of saved his own bacon by getting his gloves up and his elbows in, and held off the charge of Tim Littles. You know, some have leveled the rap on Littles that the power in his body isn't yet developed where it needs to be for the division. And, you know, those were pretty flush shots, yet Kelly didn't go. Now, we know he is a survivor, but that may be some evidence of that at this point.
He did survive round 1. But as Chris said, some of that could be laid at the feet of young Tim Littles. Great looking fighter nonetheless.
You know, he's got that definition across the shoulders. He's got a good base, good balance, knows where he is, cuts the ring when he wants to, can pretty much dictate the space between himself and the other man.
And has done it for the most part here in the early going.
See that hand speed. He just flashes it in there before Kelly can even begin to react.
Quick jabbing Tim Littles. Restart the second. Another low one.
And Kelly making a show of it. He wants to get Joe Sowerby involved if he can. Certainly bring his attention to it. Oh,
did he stick him with a good combination? All he got was a blink. Kelly can't take a punch.
I don't think Littles brought the right hand in this round, has he? There it comes. Boy, he had just been almost exclusively left hand doubling up with the jab.
Yes.
He'll jab off or hook off his own jab from the same side. The right will come eventually.
Now the right landed low, and then the right landed. There it is, and down, or nearly down, went Jerome Kelly off the ropes.
Set him up for a minute and a half, George.
Well, you called it, Chris. The right was absent for the most part. You also called it, it'll come, and it did.
Now he's just got to survive. If he can keep his feet under him, keep away, keep him honest with a jab, keep the space out there if he can. But Littles is going to pin him, try and finish it right there.
Minute left in the round. Kelly on the ropes and in big trouble.
They just hit heads. I don't know if it hurt anybody. Of course, the cut is the big problem with the head. Inadvertent, but it would have been.
Especially with the fighter who's in the lead.
I think that slowed Littles down. They really cracked.
As you can see, we have 15 seconds left in the round. Kelly landed one in Little's midsection, but took a left to finish off the round.
You know, that was really just a check jab to keep the man from moving forward. It was almost a knockout punch as a defensive maneuver.
Kelly did lean into it. We'll make sure that the butt didn't cut Tim Littles. We look in the corner and do not see any evidence of that. Let's take a look at some of the highlights, Chris, from round two.
There's the right hand, and he went almost exclusively for 90 seconds or so with the left jab, doubling it up across the brow, coming to the ribs once or twice, hooking, and then boom, the right hand came behind it all of a sudden, and Kelly was simply not ready for it. But again, that power question looked open enough to perhaps be a knockout opportunity, but it wasn't there.
Tough way to make a living for Jerome Kelly, who is 8-13-3. 2 knockouts that he can claim. Littles has 11 knockouts in his 14-0 record. And round 3 is underway.
A couple of people behind us and around us here ringside, George, remarking this kid jabs like Hearns, thinking go into the memory banks. You know, the double jab from a Tommy Hearns and the triple shot, climbing the ladder and that sort of thing.
You covered a lot of Tommy's early fights.
Betcha. He did that, you know, as well as anyone probably ever has. Littles shows flashes of that style. I don't think his hands are as fast as Hearns, though. Fast enough.
Fast enough, I think, to get it done and perhaps to win a crown.
Got that right around. Went around the elbow and stung him.
Tim Littles in white. If you just joined us, an easy winner in rounds 1 and 2. Kelly, a survivor. Just show me something if he goes 8 tonight.
You bet. After that right hand in the second round, if nothing else.
Exactly.
I suspect there'll be more of it. Really controlling the ring nicely. Watch the footwork a little. He's had Kelly pretty much where he wanted him, when he wanted him.
Little's using the right sparingly. So he took one, put it right up inside Kelly's head in a second. There's a good looking right. Goes down to the body, back up to the head. Most of the flurry caught leather.
Oh, that's all right.
Kelly swings out from the ropes. Himself momentarily out of trouble. But Littles is on the attack. Looking for the knockout here in round 3.
Well, Kelly's nearly defenseless. He checks pretty well with that left hand, trying to fight back, but there's not much left. Even though he's not cut, he doesn't look terrible. You know, you're approaching the point where Sowerby's got to start thinking about how bad off the guy might really be. I don't suggest stop it just yet, but you've got to start thinking in that direction.
Yes.
There's not much left there. There's not much he can do with Littles. And I'll tell you, George, you know, a guy that's known as a survivor will stay until he really is hurt.
Exactly. He's not going anywhere unless he's off his feet. Closing seconds now of round 3. Tim Littles has been low with 5 or 6 shots. He's been warned, I believe, just once.
Jab is something, isn't it?
Quick as a cat.
Shoots one to the glove and then comes up over with the second pump to the forehead, the bridge of the nose. Hand speed. There it is. Double pump again.
Littles in white. Unbeaten.
He got too tight. He really smothered his own right hand with that charge because he had it set up. Similar to what he was able to do in the second round. This time it wasn't nearly as effective, though. The right got there across the collarbone, really.
Littles has had Kelly set up for a finish in 2 of the 3 rounds. Kelly seems to have his legs back underneath him here in round 4. Scheduled for 8 super middleweights from the Palace of Auburn Hills. Our main event, James Bone Crusher Smith against Jeff Sims. Kelly in reversal, as he has been.
You can hear in the background Kelly's corner yelling, "Get off the ropes." Good advice. Boom! Look at the corner of the right hand from Littles. Working hard.
Littles has him in trouble again. For the 3rd time in 4 rounds.
I mean, you talk about control of the opponent. You know, Littles was pinned in the corner. He comes out with the right hand, and suddenly the guy pinned on the ropes is Kelly. And it was almost, it seemed subtle the way it happened. I mean, he didn't grab him and spin him around. He was just suddenly there.
Kelly got off the ropes as his corner requested and got in trouble. He may stay on the ropes no matter what they tell him.
Yeah. Oh. Tell you what, so there's some panache in this man Kelly. He won't stop. This is his best round, George.
Yes.
He's not going to win the round, but it's his best job he's done. He's had some offense. He's hit Littles a little bit.
Well, you called him a survivor, and you have to fight back to survive. Round 4's over. Certainly Kelly's best round. He was in a bit of trouble. His knees were not as weak as they were, however, in rounds 2 and 3.
A couple of things about the round, George. First of all, it seemed as though Littles, especially in the first minute or so, got himself out over his toes, which gave up defense and exposed his chin, and he reached for some punches, crossed over his body, and was really exposed on a couple of occasions. Kelly didn't answer with any authority, but if Littles continues that, Kelly will have an opening for a bomb. And this is that deal in the corner. You see Littles there, comes out the right hand. Now he follows along with his feet. Watch his feet as he moves down, ducks under, and suddenly he's in control. He's got the other man pinned in the corner. But at this point in the bout, Littles cannot afford to just start getting sloppy. He's way ahead. But you go to sleep in front of anybody if you lose your concentration. In terms of length of bout, you'd think with his knockout ratio, 11 KOs and 14 fights, they might have all been short. They haven't been. February, he went 7. Fight before that, he won in 8. His last fight was just a one-rounder. That was in July. But he's been this distance and then some. So it's not foreign territory in that regard for Tim Little.
This is scheduled for 8. Round 5's underway. With Little's way ahead on Chris McClure's scorecard. However, Kelly's best round was round 4.
He stung him with a counter coming in. And that was
Kelly missed with a roundhouse right.
Kelly is getting a few licks in lately. If he can put a few together, maybe he can do something with Littles.
He'd love to call it a good outing anyway when it's over against a fighter with such great promise. His legs are back underneath him, no question about that.
He hasn't really taken a huge shot for 2.5 rounds or so. The right hand when Littles was fighting out of the corner in the 4th round was the heaviest leather he's met from a power standpoint in that length of time. I think he's recovered some, George.
Confidence is also up.
Well, he may
probably
also
taken the best shot.
Yeah, exactly. He may have decided that this guy can't put me to sleep, so I can take some risks to get in. Because I don't know that Littles can hit him any harder than he did in the 2nd round.
I agree. That right will send you to dreamland that he hit him with. We're in round 5. Kelly looking for his first even round anyway on the Chris McClure scorecard. Little seems up on his toes, but maybe not quite as up as he was earlier.
Maybe content.
Yeah.
And he's still getting the job done. Still carrying the fight. It's his pace. That's good right hand.
Oh, it is it ever. In the corner, his own corner, is Jerome Kelly.
6 count.
And referee Joe Sowerby has stopped the fight. He got him with a second left in round 5.
Different angle perhaps than the one in the 2nd round. Maybe a little bit harder. 2 huge punches. The first Kelly was able to stand up to in the 2nd round. This one did his day in. There you see it. That one whipped his head around a little bit more. That may have had more authority than the first one, George. It was later in the fight, the man in front of him more tired, more worn down. Certainly that helped.
Good left uppercut, and then the right. He missed with one after that, but you saw the one that connected. A very game Jerome Kelly had nothing left at that point.
Well, you know, we knew he was tough, and he could take you a little further than you probably thought he should. We expected him to show that against Littles. That's the comment at the beginning. Littles will win. It might not be early, and it's just about the way it played out.
Good sportsmanship shown by Kelly as he comes across the ring to congratulate Tim Littles. And let's go upstairs now to our ring announcer here at the Palace, Wally Jackson.
Our referee, Joe Sowerby, stops this contest at 2 minutes, 59 seconds of the 5th round. Winner by TKO, still undefeated, Tim Littles. Kelly from Akron, Ohio.
Well, make that 15-0 now for Tim Littles, who has TKO Jerome Kelly. You see Kelly taking a walk to the dressing room. He's known as a finisher, but he couldn't finish this one against the flashy Tim Littles.
First of all, tough guy, but I think you knew that coming in. He'd stayed with a lot of good folks along the way.
Yeah, he was a tough fighter, and every time I heard him, he'd come right back. You know, he'd cover up, get his head back together, and he'd come back with 3 or 4 shots himself. But he was tough. He made me work. He made me work hard on the inside.
You were doubling up with the left, even tripling up with the left, climb the ladder, a term we use, moving up toward the forehead and so on. And the hand speed difference really helped that, but it was a good weapon.
Yeah, it was a good weapon. Well, that's my main weapon. My left hand is my main weapon. But, you know, my right hand is my power hand. But my left, if I get my jab going and the hooks behind it, it's hard for guys to stop me. And I use that when I triple those left hooks. They can only stop. They might can stop 1, maybe 2, but they can't stop all 3 of them together.
Second round, huge right hand. You went exclusively with the left for a while. You set up the right. It came. He didn't go, but he was certainly hurt. Did you think he'd go with that? It looked pretty flush from where we sat.
Well, I thought I was going to catch him. I heard him. I knew he was hurt, but I thought I was going to get a chance to get him again. But he didn't let me catch him. But I caught him later on. Later on in that 5th round with the uppercut, short punches on the inside. That's what I heard him with.
Let's take a look at that. The decisive moment, if we could, and the right hand finished it off. Talk us through it. Here we go.
Well, I was throwing, we both were throwing inside, and I came up with the left uppercut, and I came back right with the right. The right hook is what done it. Then I caught him with a couple of more, but the right hook was damaged him, and he was hurt, and then I just hit him with 2 more shots after that.
Even if he'd gotten up and Joe had let it go, there wasn't much left in him at that point, and I think it was clearly your fight all the way. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. I'd just like to say thanks for all the people in Flint and the surrounding areas in Detroit to come out and give me support. I'm going to try to do it here again. Hopefully we might get a title shot here, maybe the USBA, NABF. That was my manager, Lou Duva, was saying. But hopefully we get that later on this year. Maybe next year.
We'll look forward to it.
Okay, thanks a lot. Appreciate
George, 15-0. It's a dozen knockouts for this man.